You can do a lot more with a lot more money.
Money's a tool.
Yeah.
Then they get the pro card. They get the status, and then it's like, what then?
Everyone says social media is already like super oversaturated.
Yeah. We're gonna sign up for a 70.3 half Ironman.
Is your family Christian as well, or is it just you?
No.
What actually, like, did you just wake up and decide to go to church?
She was actually Christian, and I was an atheist, like completely.
What do you actually believe about God?
That's a tough question.
What do you actually do?
I run a YouTube channel.
What were the top 5 things that you had to learn not to do?
Like, drop the ego, ask for help, ask people that have done it before.
You can do a lot more with a lot more money.
Money's a tool.
Yeah, you say you travel a lot. Where's like your favorite place you've been to?
Texas, like I think 4 to 5 times last year.
And I guess with the channel, like what was the first thing you noticed that really moved the needle on growth and engagement?
It's finding like who has been there and like how much is an hour of your time worth.
What would be like your favorite book from the ones you have read?
By far the most, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins.
As a Christian, we know our purpose is eternity, right?
I think if you strive for the bigger picture one, which is the eternal life, you're still going to be in this world for a period of time. Why not make the most out of it?
That's a cool stand. What's this? What's this thing?
Amazon something. Oh, that is a clicker. So like if I was to be here, I could connect to Bluetooth to my phone and click it to like take photos. A lot of bodybuilders will use that and like put it in their mouth for when they do like poses and stuff.
Nice.
So they don't need to, yeah.
Do you do a lot of bodybuilding?
No, I used to photograph bodybuilding and like did videography for a lot of bodybuilding shows back in New Brunswick. And like I trained to maybe do a show, but now it's like, I don't.
Why wouldn't you like do one? Because you post the physique, man. It's looking good.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like for selfish reasons, just looking good and like being in shape is fun. I don't know. The reason why I wouldn't do a show, like it's just because I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes of what people put themselves through to do a show and to do well.
Like what? What are they putting themselves through?
It depends on the person, but like if you want to like compete at the highest level, there's a lot of substances involved and things you need to put your body through physically that are challenging and can have long-term negative side effects.
What about just like natty bodybuilding?
Well, that's something. And it's like, well, if I want to compete, I probably want to be
natural,
great. But I want to do well. And if I want to do well, there's some things that I need to do in order to get there. And like, to me, like, I don't know.
I like working out because it's fun. I started maybe a year ago, but like even my friends who look pretty good and they're like, oh yeah, they're natty, right? And then I get into a bit of a conversation about what they're doing. They're like, oh, they're all on peptides. They're all on like, they're pinning stuff so close to steroids that it's like, come on, man.
It's like a gray area. And, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, there's so much there because like I was in that world for such a long time, but like there's a lot of people that I see as soon as they reach like 30s, mid 30s, and they keep pursuing that. And then they get the pro card, they get the status, and then it's like, what then? Right. And they just kind of like fall back. And like that being said, like a lot of people, like especially nowadays, right? Like young people, like, oh, I'll be a fitness influencer, make a ton of money out of it. And like in the bodybuilding world specifically at the high level, there's way less money than people think there is.
Oh, I totally, so, I can see that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of, everyone says social media is already like super oversaturated. Yeah. But bodybuilding and like fitness gurus has to be like even more so.
For sure.
For that niche. Like,
for sure.
It's crazy. Where do you work out actually though?
Right now, the Realm, and then also I just moved into the new apartments on Leon downtown, and there's like a decent apartment gym there. So I've been doing that, and then a buddy of mine, a guy I work with, we're gonna sign up for a 70.3 half Ironman next year. So training is gonna look a little different for the next like 6 months or so.
You gonna try and drop some weight for that, or like?
For sure. Okay. Yeah, for sure. There's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to perform well at this.
I've never tried an Ironman, but it looks insane. It looks insane.
Me neither. Yeah, never really biked before. Haven't swum in 10 years, and then I dabbled in running a little bit in the last few years, and then picked it up again, kind of I want to say 6 months ago. And I was like, you know what? There's this half marathon in Kelowna in like 2 months. I'm gonna sign up for it. So I signed up for it, trained up a little bit, and then did that end of September.
Cool. What did you place?
I have no idea placing. I finished with a 153, which my goal was to do it under 2 hours. I did 153, so
nice, sick. That's awesome.
I was pretty pumped.
But, yeah. I enjoy swimming. I kind of enjoy biking. I don't have a bike. I absolutely despise running. Like
I used to hate running, and then I just like learned to. I don't know. It's gonna sound really dark, but like I learned to love it, like love the pain, or like.
Oh, there you go.
It sucks during the run, but then
David
after
Goggins
the run, because like you get those second wins, and it's like you feel like you're just flying.
Nice.
But yeah.
Do you have like a how do you even like practice running? You just do it a lot, or?
Honestly, I'm probably the worst person to ask, because it's funny, because when I was training for the half marathon, I was kind of just doing what I thought was right. It's like I did a short run in the weekdays and the long run on weekends. And I was just kind of going a steady pace that I could maintain for the whole thing, and which was pretty high. And when I talked to most people after, they're like, oh, like most of your training should be like in zone 2, which is like pretty low effort, but that's how you build your solid base.
Interesting.
And then sometimes you'll do like super high intensity to get your heart rate up. I was like at the top zone most of the time.
Well, why wouldn't you, like, just out of curiosity, that makes sense to be running at that high intensity for training, doesn't it?
I think it's just to build your base to be able to last longer, like maintain, because like you can definitely do short sprints, but then if you crash back down after, it'll be pretty hard to keep up for like a long period of time, like a half marathon or full marathon, versus if you just build a solid base, then it's easier to build speed on top of that. But
cool. I'll go out for like maybe once a month. I'll try and like run the road down below my house.
Yeah.
And I'll get like to the mailbox and be like, this is so incredibly dumb. Why am I doing this?
Hills are tough too. Like it's pretty hilly around here, so it'll be tough.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I think it's challenging, and like it's funny because it in a sense brings out the kid in me. I used to go around like this summer on the waterfront on the Okanagan, and there's a bunch of people walking and biking or whatever, and it's like, dude, if I don't get to that pole before that guy, whatever.
Nice.
And it's like just those like small wins stack up. And then at the end, you're like, I ran like 10K, which is like, if you think of like how long 10K is, just in a straight line that way, it's a decent length. They're like, huge. I ran that in like 15 minutes or whatever it was.
That's crazy, dude. That's impressive.
But it's, I don't know, stacking small wins. And it's like keeping the promises you make to yourself, because most of the time it's not fun.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I guess that's most things. It's just like running.
You'll learn to love it.
Less fun than a lot of
I didn't like the gym for a long time, and then I just learned to love it. And
I noticed that too, I think.
Yeah. Like the pursuit of progress, I think, is what gets me. Because like you do a 5K at, and it takes you, 35 minutes. You're like, man, let me try to do it in like 33. And then you do 33. Okay, like maybe I can do sub 30. And then you do sub 30. And it's just like this constant.
That's cool.
Pursuit.
I guess it helps you also. I guess there's a lot of guys that you work with who also like running.
Yeah, our team is very, very active and fit for sure.
Yeah, this is kind of like a competition to see who can do the most.
Dude, it is always a competition. Like we have a like squat rack and pull-up bar in our studio downtown.
That's so awesome.
And you walk in front of it midday, and there's people doing pull-ups or push-ups, and every like set of 10 they do, we add a notch to our name on the board. Nice. And at the end of the day, it's like, this person did 170 pull-ups today, this person did 120, this person did 50.
That's awesome.
And it's just like there's zero, we don't win anything, like there's no prize, and we just do that on a daily basis.
That's so cool.
Some of the people of our team did a half Ironman last year. Like they flew there together in Quebec, Mont Tremblant. They did that, and as a team, a few of us did the half marathon this year. A few of us did it last year. Every Saturday morning, as a team, we go to the Realm and train together. Like we all do our own thing, but we just train as a team.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah,
that's cool. I thought that was Aesthetic Nation for some reason. I see
those we used to. We'll move around, but like lately it's been the Realm just because it's close and convenient.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I had some questions as well, so I might glance down at this occasionally.
Go for it.
But I did want to ask, like, I see a lot of Christian content and stuff that you post or stories, and so like, how does your faith work? Like, how does that impact your life and your business or your work and everything?
Yeah, man, great question. I went to church for the first time just over 2 years ago as an atheist.
Okay.
And right then and there, gave my life to Christ in like the first hour I was there, hour and a half. And there's obviously a few things that led up to that. Like a big part was just seeing a lot of people that I already liked and admired online, social media, like entrepreneurs, Tony Robbins, Patrick Bet-David, like a few of those big people that I just noticed they started talking more about their faith and how that played a role in their life. And in the middle of all that, it was October 8th, 2023, and there was some elections in the States, campaigns, there was COVID, there was vaccine, there was a lot of things. And I was also in a relationship at the time. And to me, that showed, it was kind of like holding up a mirror, and it showed me that I don't have a lot of values that I stand for. Like, I don't know what I stand for as a young man.
Right.
Like, I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I stood for. And when that was tested, it really made me think of like, what do I stand for? And what do I want my life to look like? And yeah, with that, like one thing led to another, and then went to church, and I was like, that is the thing that I feel I've been chasing for the last, as long as I can remember. And that was it. And
That's cool.
Ever since then, like relationships with a lot of people have gotten better, close family members, just like the way I see people around me, the world. And for me anyways, I walk around with a certain confidence in a sense that I don't need to have it all figured out. And that's something I used to struggle with a lot, like overthinking, like perfectionism, procrastination is just another word for that. But it's something I used to struggle with a lot, and I still do for sure. But it definitely, at the end of the day, like it's not up to me, and I don't have control over everything. And to me, that was a relief.
I can see
To
that
some people, it's probably like stress of like, oh my God, I can't control everything.
Right.
To me, it felt like, hey, I can take all this weight that I feel on my shoulders and just place it there. And it's like,
that's awesome.
It felt like 1,000 pounds lifted on my off my shoulders.
God.
Yeah.
And I have a couple follow-ups to that. So like, is your family Christian as well, or is it just you?
No. Funny enough, so I did catechism.
Yeah.
So I did that from grade like first to seventh grade or whatever it is, and didn't believe in anything. I just went there because my parents told me I needed to go.
Is that like, just real quick, is that like Catholic?
Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I went there, didn't really listen, pay attention, whatever. And what was interesting to me that I only realized later on is that other than that 45 minutes a week, zero part of our lives as a family or individuals had anything to do with faith, or like we never talked about it. It was never anything. And to me, that was interesting. And I later found out that the only reason that me and my younger brother went through that is because my grandparents were Catholics, and they had, pressure is a strong word, but like influenced our parents to put me and my younger brother through that. Yeah, so I grew up there. But yeah, my parents, like no one in my family other than my grandparents kind of on one side were religious, spiritual, faith, Christians, none of that.
So how do they view your faith now? Like, do they like it? Are they supporting you with that, or how does that work?
From what I can tell anyway, it definitely looks like they're inspired in some sort of way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way I could put it.
Fair
I
enough.
think it's definitely like piqued their interest. They don't ask me about it as much as I think I would like in a sense. But if there's one thing I've learned, especially with the people closest to you, is sometimes the best thing you can do is just shine your light and hope that they kind of come your way or get curious and ask questions versus you trying to force something on them or push them in a direction.
Yeah, totally.
Because if anything, it'll end up pushing them away even more. So
yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
And so what actually, like, did you just wake up and decide to go to church, or like what actually got you in church?
Yeah. So there was like a few people that I was seeing like a lot of content around, and at the time, again, I was in a relationship, and we ended up parting ways. And one of the big reasons for that, there's a few things for sure, but like one of the big reasons was she was actually Christian,
right,
and had like been in church for most of her life, and I was an atheist, like completely. And like, I love you, but I can't be with someone that doesn't have the same spiritual like morality as I do.
Was that was from her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so parting ways, and then 2 days later, I went to church for the first time. That being said, it wasn't necessarily for her with the hopes of anything happening there afterwards, but there was a lot of individual moments that led up to that like just made me want to go.
Right.
I'm like, if someone that I like know deeply and like, again, was in a relationship with, that is willing to let go of someone they're in a relationship with for someone that they can't see or touch, or you know what I mean? Like to me, that was like
conviction.
Like that must be something. And like, you know, we talked about like, oh, like I went to church and like this thing happened. I'm like, that's freaking crazy. And then I went to church this time and this happened. I'm like, how do I get that? You know?
Right.
So there was a lot of moments leading up to that. And then I think like that was the final breaking point that just brought me there. But
that's amazing.
It is. I mean, I will say like that breakup is by far the best thing that's ever happened to me.
That's a crazy way to
for sure. But like
amazing.
Without that, I wouldn't be here for sure.
And what is your like because it's something I've noticed is it's really easy to throw out that you're a Christian or you believe in God or something, and So something I always like to ask people is what do you actually believe about God? Like, if what the core of what you believe, what is it? What's your conviction?
That's a tough question. I don't know how else to answer, and like I don't think I'm in the best position to answer, because I still in a sense feel new to it. Like it's been 2 years, lukewarm, haven't read the whole Bible yet. However,
it's a lot to get through.
Yeah, it's a thick book, and like if I needed to boil it down, I would just say that everything that is in the Bible is the truth, and I try to live as a reflection of that in my day to day. And I think one thing that I see in a lot of people, and again, like, don't get me wrong, I fall short all the time, but like people are like, oh, like I believe in God, but like I'm still going to do this, or like I can still, like I still have control of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like you can't just pick when you choose that there's something bigger or God to believe in.
Totally. It's almost like a trendy thing. This is a terrible way to describe it, but it's almost a trendy thing to just be, I follow God, but that won't change anything about my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if it doesn't affect the way you behave on the day to day, then like, do you really?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know how else to answer that.
No, that's a loaded question. That's a great. Well, it's just something. I actually was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about God. And the more we talked, I was like, okay, I don't think we actually believe anything similar, because God is more of a buzzword to throw out as a flex versus a relationship, right? And so what you said is about the Bible being absolute truth is like totally accurate. That's awesome. Yeah. By the way, I didn't ask, do you want some water? Because
no, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm doing good.
Sweet. And you also, so I want to talk about like your job a bit, because that's a pretty cool job.
Totally.
So what do you actually do? What's your job?
Yeah. So I run a YouTube channel we just got over 2 million subscribers. Channel Dan Martel. He's an entrepreneur, very successful, and he lives in Kelowna. And so I run that channel.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. And did you grow up from nothing? Did you come in and it was just like starting it?
Yeah. So I joined the team close to 3 years ago now. And at the time we had under 100,000 followers across all platforms.
Wow. That is,
so like including Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, the few platforms there were. We were around, I think, 50,000 or so on Instagram, maybe 50,000 on YouTube, and then a bit here and there on other platforms. But yeah.
Was there a team before you, or not really?
We built it from the ground up. And
That's
so awesome. The way I actually came into it is I kind of knew our now creative director. Okay. I saw him at the gym. We just started talking. And then after a while, he's like, hey, we're looking for editors. Is that something that you'd be interested in? I'm like, cool. And so my onboarding was me going to his apartment and looking over his shoulder on how to edit a reel and add text to a reel.
That's awesome.
That was my onboarding process 3 years ago, which is pretty crazy. And from there, it was me, him, and another guy. It was the three of us, like running the show in a sense. And we had no idea what we were doing. And from there, we just grew, added more people. And now on the media side, we're around 12 people in the business. And like we'll generate over 200 million impressions per month.
That's amazing.
On average, we have 8.5 million followers across all platforms. And most of that growth is in the last 24 to 36 months.
Wow. And did you move to Kelowna because of that offer? Okay.
Totally.
So the creative director was in New Brunswick.
Yeah, in New Brunswick. It's also where Dan used to live.
Okay.
He moved here around 4 to 5 years ago. And then around 2.5, 3 years ago, our creative director moved here. And then I moved here coming up on 2 years now.
So you must have like really believed that the job was something special to like move across the country for that.
For sure.
What actually gave you that?
I was working remote from my bedroom and like wake up 5 a.m., move 4 feet to the right, sit, tip tap on my computer for 12 hours, get up, maybe go to the gym, and then go upstairs and eat, and then go to sleep. Like I would spend almost 20 hours a day in my bedroom, and mentally I was not in a great space.
That sounds like a solid grind.
Yeah. And to be honest, it was more so like, I call it a grind. Was I actually productive all of that time? Absolutely not. There was a lot of procrastinating involved.
Right.
And I think a lot of that just comes from lack of purpose.
Do you think it's harder to stay like consistent or, not procrastinating when you're just working on your own, or like with a group of people around you in an office? Is it a bit easier to work hard?
comes and goes. Working with people can definitely be distracting at times. However, if you're surrounded by the right people, I think it's like the best motivator for sure. Okay. Yeah, so we had an event and our creative director was like, hey, why don't I fly you out to Kelowna for a week before the event? Come hang out, see what it's about, see if you could see yourself potentially moving here. Like super lightly, like just come hang out. Right. And the plan was definitely to convince me to move. And he did that within like 24 hours. Like landed, picked me up from the airport, went to work, Innovation Center, and then brought me up some mountain. I think it was Dilworth. Yeah. And I was just looking at the city and like we have 0 mountains back in New Brunswick. And I was like, this is crazy. I got to move here. Like it'd be stupid for me not to. And so I went back home after the event. 3 weeks later, packed my bags and came here.
That's pretty crazy, dude. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
So when you started, like what were the top 5 things that you had to learn not to do in creating?
Ooh, that's a great question. Things I needed to learn not to do. I think I can do it all on my own. Okay. For sure. Like drop the ego, ask for help, ask people that have done it before. Not to do. Like think and dreaming small. Like I'm just gonna work on this and do this and like I'll do my thing and like you guys can do your own big thing. Right. That was like shattered for sure pretty quick. Man, that's tough. Things not to do. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like literally like you can't be small-minded for what we do. And like I had like a belief ceiling and that's been like shattered like over and over and over. Like you reach a new level and it's like gets exploded.
Okay, so that was actually one of my questions was like working with Dan Martel because obviously the guy works insanely hard. Like what was that? So would you say that's the belief that got completely shattered? Is just small-mindedness?
Just like what's possible. Okay. For sure. Like there's so many great lessons that I've gotten to learn from working with Dan for the last 2-3 years. And the biggest thing is by far what's possible and why not you? Right. Like he was, if you know his story, like he was in prison twice at 17.
I didn't actually know he was
went to rehab and like almost lost his life multiple times and became multimillionaire by 28. And then now he's running a $100 million company at 45. Yeah,
that's an amazing
And it's story. Like the contrast or the transformation. It's like, dude, my childhood was nowhere near that bad. So
it almost seems sometimes like the worse your childhood is, the more you try and push past.
100%. That. It's a very common trait that I've seen in a lot of people. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
And when you're working, like, what's the thing that you do, like the most unsexy thing that you have to do every day to like make stuff happen?
The hardest part for me is how to distill my thoughts into words and how to communicate them properly. Okay. So because I've had the chance to start from like the bottom of our team 3 years ago, I've gotten a lot of reps on a lot of different things. I went from a short form editor for 1.5 years, 2 years. Then I went to a YouTube editor, like long form, did that for like a year. And now I run the YouTube channel. And collectively, I've edited videos that have gathered over 125 million views.
That's amazing.
Give or take. Yeah. And now, as we bring in new people that have either different backgrounds, less backgrounds, like whatever it is, it's how do I communicate what I've been able to learn through all these reps to other people that don't have the same context. And that comes into like many different shapes and sizes, whether it's like leadership stuff, thumbnails, editing, like the videos, processes, like all these things. And the ability to communicate properly is something that I'm working on continuously. I don't think there's an end point either, but that is by far the biggest challenge in a sense and unsexy thing that I get to do every single day.
Right. And so you're doing a lot of like training now as well then?
Yeah. So like I'm part of and when I say like for context, when I say I run the YouTube channel, I'm not the one editing. So we produce 2 videos per week, which are like, with that comes the process of ideating, like outlining what a video looks like, shooting it, editing, and then all the packaging, which is like thumbnail, title, research, all that sort of stuff. And so I just can't do everything for every single video. So I'm grateful to have a team that I work with editors, I have graphic designers, all that stuff. And so for me, the biggest thing is making sure that what we begin the ideation with is reflected in the final product, because there's a lot of people involved and there's a lot of opportunities for us to break off of the path that we wanted to go, and for the end product to be like, ooh, this is not what we wanted it to be. And then from there, the whole thing breaks.
Right. Yeah. So keeping that original plan just in
Totally.
place. Yeah. That's cool. So managing, I've never done any managing, but it sounds like a lot of work.
It's interesting, dude. I will tell you, like, and this is kind of recent to me in the last 12 months, like working with people and like people reporting to me. I just turned 22. And so like,
oh, cool, man.
Big imposter syndrome for sure, especially that everyone I work with is older than me.
Dude, you got to teach me how to grow, because I'm 21 and I'm nowhere close.
Just came in the last year, so maybe,
okay, all right,
maybe you got time. Yeah, so the way that came about is because of the company that we have, there's like unlimited upside. Like you can grow into the person you want to be within the environment that Dan's been able to create, which is like the most awesomest thing ever. It's great. And I selfishly was like, hey, how do I make more money? How do I become more valuable?
Right.
And I had a talk with the person that I was reporting to, and he basically said straight up, like, you're not going to make that amount of money editing videos. I'm like, cool. What do I need to do? He's like, you need to lead a team of people. I'm like, that's scary. I don't know how to do that. And so literally within a few weeks, few months, I got myself out of editing videos on the day-to-day. And basically overnight, I had 4 people that reported directly to me. So I was in charge of managing, making sure they had their projects done on time, the quality was there, we're meeting timelines, all these things, like part of like the hiring process, like, is it someone we want to keep on the team or not? Like all these things. Almost overnight, and that's been a learning curve for sure.
Oh, I believe it. Well, so you had the goal then to move away from editing and manage more, but that sounds like a really quick turnover. Like, what did you actually? What were the steps you took to actually go from editing to now managing? Like, someone had to see that you were doing something different.
100%. It came from, honestly, like we move very fast. And so like some people will join a company and their ramping up process is like 3 months, 90 days for them to be like, go from day one, we call it 0 to hero. So like day one until like they blend in with the rest of the team and you can tell they're new, 90 days. For us, it's like 30 days, if that, like depending on the role, like we move very fast. And so obviously there was a ramp up period of like, hey, if I'm going to start overseeing all these things, let me start with this. And I'll review this. And then the person that originally reviews it will still review it. And then I'll go after and check on their notes and how they give feedback, what they give feedback on, and basically review the work of the person above me, like the job I was taking in a sense, review their work and what that looks like and try to like work backwards from there. And then also just because I had so many reps on the editing side, I kind of knew the feedback that I wanted to receive when it came to like videos, because there's nothing worse than submitting a video to someone and they're like, cool, change all of these things. And you're like, I just spent the last 2 weeks on this and it sucks. And so like I didn't want to create that same environment for my team. And so I saw that as an opportunity to step up and like, how do I deliver feedback in a better way? And so that just came with reps and honestly like consuming content from like super basic managing videos. Like how do you manage a team? Traction, the EOS method, like having one-on-ones, quarterly rocks, like all these things on just how businesses run. And then just surrounding myself with great leaders. Like I'm super grateful that I'm surrounded by those people on a daily basis. Like Dan is one of them, our creative director, our GM. Like you just get to see it in real time, what great leadership looks like. And I was just trying to pull from those character traits. And with that, like Dan, every single Monday, without skipping a beat, we would gather all of our team at the end of the day and he would do a leadership training. So like people see him on the internet and like travel the world and do all these things like, there's no way this guy has time for his team. Dude, every single Monday when he's in town, which is more often than not, other than in the last 6 months, he would train our team for an hour every time.
Really cool.
Like we're in the same room, asking questions, all these things. And I've got to learn a lot from those.
I think that's maybe one of the things I've noticed with companies, that's something they don't do very well, is like when someone decides to really work on something, it could be years before that's like appreciated and they actually move into something, taking over more responsibility. And so being in a company where that's like instantly kind of noticed, I think that keeps maybe the motivation or going for those people.
For sure. Yeah. It's a culture that I've never been a part of anywhere else for sure. And like, it's funny because they say it all the time. Dan's like, dude, you guys have no idea. We screwed you up because you go anywhere else, you will have a completely different culture. And it's 100% true. Like we go, I mean, I've been fortunate to like travel to a lot of different places, see a lot of teams and facilities, and like it's very different, very different.
I just looking from the outside, I can kind of notice that as well. It's a pretty cool environment for sure.
Yeah.
And you say you travel a lot. Where's like your favorite place you've been to?
Honestly, I think I've been to Texas like I think 4 to 5 times last year. I kind of like it. It's warm. It's cool country. Nice. Yeah, you know, taxes there are less bad now that I live there. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. I like Texas. I've driven through it once, and nice. It's definitely a totally different vibe, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I guess with the channel, like, what was the first thing you noticed that really moved the needle on growth and engagement?
Yeah, by far the biggest lever we were able to pull, and like understandably not everyone is in that situation where they can do the same, but it's paying people for the answers.
Okay, interesting.
And it's finding like who has been there, and like the simplest question is like, how much is an hour of your time worth?
Right.
And a lot of people are like, one, maybe shy or like afraid of like, oh, like this person might see me as less than whatever, or like, oh, I probably can't afford that. You would be surprised of how many top level people I've reached out to that say, oh, dude, would love to chat. Let's just hop on a call.
That's pretty cool.
Like in my mind, it's like, oh, they're going to try to sell me on a $10,000 thing.
Right.
Right. And I'm going to have to say, like, never mind. I can't do it. You know, but like have loved to chat with people. And like, I've been able to do some great connections really like cool. That, people that I still chat to. And then obviously there's people that we pay a pretty penny. But like, again, the ROI is just like, you save yourself so much headaches.
Right. So getting the best off the bat instead of like trying to find, you know, the cheapest deal or whatever.
100%. Like a combination of that and just volume reps.
Right.
By far. Because like you can read about doing the thing or you can do the thing, and you'll get a lot more real-time feedback by doing the thing than reading about it. And from there, it's just like small iterations. And we're still learning. Like we don't have all the answers, and it's something we're always working on. But once you have 250 reps in the bank, it's hard to not see patterns and things you can improve on.
Right. That makes sense. Speaking of reading, do you like reading? Like,
admittedly, like I don't mind it. I don't do it. I haven't done it in years. I had a window where I would read pretty heavily. I went through like a few books a year, but admittedly, I haven't been doing much of that lately.
Fair enough. What would be like your favorite book from the ones you have read?
That's a good question. I mean, I think Atomic Habit was like definitely one of my top ones. I like that one a lot. I've read it a few times now. By far the most impacting for me was Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins.
Okay.
It is a thick book, it's like 700 pages. But I've read that, I think it was like 14 or 15, and he would like ask you to do things like exercises or whatnot. So I have like a notes page in my phone, like full of screenshots and answers and all these things. And yeah, that was probably my favorite read for sure.
That's pretty cool. So you read that at 14 or 15. So you've kind of, have you always kind of been like pretty driven then?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. Couldn't tell you why. Maybe probably similar to you, like just, I think being the oldest child just gives you that little nudge of like, hey, you just want to be a little bit more independent in a sense. I think that's part of it. Couldn't tell you why, but yeah, I've always kind of had that nudge of like, I know I want to do big things.
You can kind of see your potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But have you ever has there ever been a point where you've quit or you've wanted to quit working for, you know, a bigger business or working on your potential?
I mean, you'll always have those moments of like, what am I really doing this for? And like, is it worth it? And you know, is it going to matter in 25 years, in 10 years, in 5 years? I think there's always going to be some sort of doubt or
Well, but what makes you push through that?
I think it started with running away from something. So not necessarily pursuing something, but just running away of something else, which was like the norm. The rest of the people I was close with, whether it's friends, family, whatever it is, just like, I know what that sort of life looked like. And I just know I didn't want my life to look like that. Right. And so kind of anything else that wasn't that, I was kind of trying to move in that direction. And then after a while, it kind of flips and I get to see more like the potential in serving a bigger purpose, which like now believing in God and just like serving the kingdom in a sense, and like, how do I bring more people to Jesus and to faith? And like, how can I have an impact on that? You know, helping out, whatever it is. Like if I fast forward 25 years, I would love to be helping out young men with faith, financials, business, relationships, like all these things, right? Awesome. Just like, how do I serve a bigger purpose, which I think honestly is lacking a lot of people these days, which is like outside of yourself. Not like, don't get me wrong, the cars are cool, the house is cool, like all the things are cool, but like you don't get to bring that to your grave.
No, totally. Yeah.
And
it's not going to matter for eternity.
Right. Yeah. But the impact you get to have on people, I think, is a more lasting thing. And it's way cooler to see, for sure.
What are you doing like right now to create that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now, for me, the biggest thing that's been on my heart is before I can go out and serve and be a disciple, I need to build my relationship with God stronger, awesome. Better, and deeper.
Right.
And again, something like I have periods of like lukewarm. I don't read my Bible every day, and I come back to it, and like there's a lot of different things. And I think just really building that solid foundation that I can then go and disciple.
Well, kind of like you were talking about reps before, like getting in those reps,
the
experience.
Just like having a solid foundation. And when I get asked a challenging question or whatever it might be, or like people have doubts, I not necessarily just like know the answer, like what is the answer to the question, but I can have the heart to, or the ability to answer the question, not just say like, I don't know.
Right. I think there's that verse that goes, always be ready to give an answer for the hope that is within you.
Yeah.
And so that totally vibes with what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
I think that's the biggest thing. I like last year, it's interesting, but like I remember like a few weeks, like I wasn't going to church and I wasn't like touching the Bible, and I was like, ask me why. I don't know. I just like, I missed a Sunday because I was traveling, and then I just like didn't go the week after, and then didn't go the week after, and the next year it's been like 2 months. And so now like I'm making it my number one priority on weekends to go. Lately I've been doing double services, so like I'll go to 1 a.m. and then go later at night as well. I actually started helping out in my local church on like the AV production side. Just they said they needed help. I'm like, that's cool, because like I've had a calling to like serve at a church to some extent in capacity, but I was like, I'm not there yet. Like I don't, like, why me? You know what I mean? And then I was asked like, hey, we would love for you to help out with this stuff. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's pretty cool.
So that's been exciting.
I guess something that I've struggled with a lot, so I'd love to hear your opinion on this, is like, as a Christian, we know our purpose is eternity, right? Eternal souls, all of that. And so how do you balance being driven, wanting to, be very successful, and that goal?
Succeeding in this world versus the eternal one.
Because I don't think both are wrong, or I don't think one is wrong, one is right. I just I want to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think if you strive for the bigger picture one, which is the eternal life, you're still going to be in this world for a period of time. Why not make the most out of it?
Yeah.
I see some people online, it's like, oh, like you can't both be rich and believe in God, have a lot of money and believe in God. And don't get me wrong, I definitely think that there's some people that, claim to have a relationship with God and they maybe don't do the wisest thing.
Yeah.
For sure. I think there'll always be some like those people. But I've also seen a lot of people that they have accumulated massive amounts of wealth and they also give back a lot more.
Right.
And when I think of that, just like for pure sake of comparison, if I think of the billionaire status that donates 10% of his wealth to some sort of foundation or churches or whatever it is, versus the employee that makes maybe $50,000 a year. From my experience, I've seen a lot of people at this caliber level look down on the billionaire status because, they have a lot of money and they could help a lot of people, while not knowing that they actually give back a large portion of their wealth. I'm not saying that's all of them, but I would say a good portion of them. And that person will have more impact.
Absolutely,
than this one person just throwing stones.
I don't think God sees either one as better or worse, but I think just for the pure benefit that it gives.
100%. Like you can use it for good, you can use it for bad. I think it's just how you use it. And if you're here on this earth, we're in a Western world where money is valued and you can lose it, you can make more of it, you can make a lot of it, you can make not a lot. If it's a valuable tool, you may as well try to gather a lot of it to do more good.
And I think it's kind of perspective too, because
100%.
if I make $1,000 a year, there's somebody in a third world country that would love to make that much, right?
Totally.
And so it's all just different levels of the same kind of thing.
I had, I'll steal this story from Dan, but he was working with an entrepreneur and he was like struggling to kind of stay alive. And Dan said, why don't you raise your prices? He was like, I don't feel like I can, or I should, I'm like that worthy, or like, I don't want people to waste or spend all that money on me.
Right.
And Dan said, what if you donated everything, like 10% of everything you make to your local church? He's like, man, then I would charge way more because then I can donate all this money.
Yeah.
Cool. Then like fight to produce more, like know your worth and fight for it. As long as you give it back. Yeah. Or like a portion of it,
I think one of my favorite quotes is I was listening to a pastor talk and he said, if God can get it through you, he'll get it to you. And so he loves a cheerful giver, right? And people who are generous, of course, God's going to want to bless them because they are supporting the kingdom of heaven. I think it's totally. It's just sowing and reaping, right? It's one of the laws of nature.
Yeah. 100%.
So what's your definition of success then? Like
that stuff. I think that constantly changes. If I think of, in 25 years from now is having a beautiful family with and again, this is a lot of big language, but like a very strong and beautiful relationship with my wife and having multiple kids that are raised within the same values, Christian values. And if I think of material things, nice house, nice cars, like whatever, all that stuff. But if I think of impact, I don't have a number for it, but like having impact on the community around me and the person that I once was, because I think like that's the person we're the best equipped to help, is the person that we once were in like the lowest times, the darkest times. And so having some sort of impact on that in a way.
Why would you say that who you once were is the best person you can help? Like just what gives you that perspective?
Because if you've been able to go through it, you know the ins and outs of what it is, what it feels like in the moment, before, after, during the thing, what it took to conquer it, what were the setbacks, how people viewed you, like, everything, right?
So you have the game plan.
Yeah.
You can share. Yeah.
I'm never going to be a women's health coach. I'm not a freaking woman. You know what I mean? Like it just, in my mind, it just makes sense. Now, not saying guys can't get degrees and do all these things to help women, but like just from experience, I'm never going to be able to relate to that versus maybe a 20-some-year-old guy that struggles with XYZ that I've also been through.
Right. So do what you're good at, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And so you said 25 years, but like, I know you've been asked this question before, but what about like 5 years?
Yeah.
5-year goals.
I would love to be in a place to like contribute, donate, tithe 10% of my income for sure. And I would love that 10% to be a decent amount of money. By then, potentially running my own business. We'll see what that looks like. We'll see what the future holds. I'm not necessarily tied to anything. Yeah, it's tough. It's thinking long term is something I struggle with a lot. And I think it comes back to this like overthinking, indecisive, perfectionist, like, oh, like if I pick this, it means I can't chase this. Versus like, how about you just pick something and just like go in that direction. And if you want to move, like
see what happens.
Right. So that's something I need to remind myself of pretty often.
I'm kind of similar, but I have big goals, but they're just like so distant that, getting there is the challenge, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out a plan is where I struggle.
Totally. Like, yeah, same. Yeah. I struggle with that a lot. Like, I'm going to Passion 2026 in a few weeks, which is in Dallas, actually in Texas. So that'll be fun. But
what is that? What's set it up?
It's a like Christian event for young adults. So I think the age range is from 18 to 25-year-olds.
Oh, cool.
And most of them are from the States, from different universities and colleges and whatnot. 2 years ago, it was held in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, and there was sold out 70,000 people.
Wow.
And so this year it's in a baseball stadium. I forget the total capacity, but I believe it just sold out too. I think it's 100,000 people. I could be wrong.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But
it's a lot of young adults.
Yeah, I went to last year, and it was a surreal experience. And so, anyways, that to say, during my travel there, I'm like starting to collect like thoughts and like planners and books and videos and like things I want to watch. I'm like, hey, let me just like get rid of all these distractions while I'm 35,000 feet up in the air, and like let me just sit with my thoughts and God, and like what does my life look like for the next 12 months, next 5 years, like long term.
Write out a bit of a game plan.
Yeah, because I think like for me anyways, I feel like I often get stuck in the weeds of life, whether that's work, other stuff, whatever it is, and I forget to like get my head up and just zoom out and like, where am I going? You know what I mean? Like get your head out of the water. Like, where am I swimming to? So yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to doing the next couple weeks.
And you mentioned a business, which I love business. Yeah. So I have no experience, but I love it, right? Yeah. I'll probably start to hate it as soon as I get some experience. But what do you actually like? What kind of business are you thinking of? Like, what's your idea?
Yeah. Right now, if you would have asked me, like, if something happens that I lose my job tomorrow, or something happened, the business goes under, whatever it is, and like, hey, like, what are you going to do now? I would probably start a version of what I'm doing right now, which is to an extent helping media teams grow and succeed in the content space.
Would that kind of be a creative director, or is that the wrong term?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty accurate, I would say. And a lot of people that do that, like agency kind of model, or just work with like one creator and really scale them. I think I would do a version of that. Now, I say that because that's definitely what I'm the most comfortable in, because that's what I've done the most. But the thing that I've gotten to learn a lot of over the last 12 months that I'm learning is very applicable to a lot of different aspects of life, is the leadership qualities that you can bring that to a media team, you can bring that to an engineering team, architects, dentists, like it could be applied into many different niches or aspects of life. And so that's also been interesting, just to kind of look through that lens of like, I'm not just limited just to this media thing. I can also kind of branch out and apply the principles that I learned to other things.
I think being a good leader is almost impossible to find nowadays. What would you say is the most important thing about being a good leader?
I think two things. One, you can't lead others before you lead yourself.
Okay.
And so I can't ask you to be in shape if I'm not in shape.
Right. That makes sense.
And I can't ask you to do the work if I'm not at least willing or have done the work in the past. And so I think leading yourself first is by far the biggest thing. And that's something that I got to learn the hard way, because I, as a creative, I use that as a crutch, but I was late on delivering stuff. I'm like, let me just do this really cool thing, and like I'll deliver it at 2 a.m. instead of like at the 5 p.m. deadline.
Right.
And I would deliver projects late. Now that I'm on the receiving side, I get stuff delivered late. I'm like, wow, that's really frustrating. And so now I make sure that I deliver my stuff on time, and so I can ask for the same in return.
That's actually that's a great piece of advice.
So that's been something that's been interesting for sure. Like same thing for fitness, all the things. I'm just like, even what you do outside of work. If I go drink at the bar and do all these things and like don't take care of myself outside of work, and I come in and I tell you what to do and ask you all these things, you're gonna look at me like, who the heck are you to ask me to do that?
Right.
Because you don't respect me. And so I think like going first and doing the thing and thinking bigger.
Leading by example.
Yeah, for sure. Leading by example. And then the second thing that I was gonna say is learning to let go. And it's challenging because your ego wants to hold on to everything and everything you used to have control over, and you know how to do well. How could someone ever do it as good as I can? You just got to be okay with that not happening over and over. And, you know, that is one of the most beautiful things that I have learned the hard way in a sense. But like, I still think that I'm a decent video editor, and I've done it for a long amount of time. And I know how to craft something super solid. And when I stopped giving as strict and specific feedback to the people on my team, they would come back and surprise me with things that you asked me how to do, I have no idea.
Right.
That wouldn't have happened if I didn't let go and give them the opportunity to be creative and fill that space. Because if it's just me bossing around and telling them exactly what to do all the time, then you don't have a team. I just have more of me.
Right. Oh, it's actually
so like learning to let people grow into the role and just letting go of things and accept that things aren't always going to be exactly how you want them. It might take a few tries to get there, and it might be
better than you expected.
It might just be better.
That's really cool. I'm gonna have to start trying to do that more.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And when you start, like for someone who's starting
Mhm.
with whatever kind of job or business or anything they're getting into, what's like the biggest thing for growth that you would say is important? And then also like specifically for editing.
Yeah, I think it depends on the thing, but I got to give credit to one of the guys that I've gotten to know over the last few months, but Caleb Ralston. He
Okay.
said this applies to media and also just basically everything else. But for most things, quantity or quality is more important than quantity.
Interesting.
But you won't know what quality is before you do quantity. So in other words, you need reps.
Interesting.
So like content, if you post one video per year, do you think you'll make a better video by doing that? Or you just try 52 videos once a week and every time you just change one thing or like, and then you start to notice things. Oh, let me add text in my thumbnail. Maybe that'll help. Oh my God, my conversion or click or whatever just went up 100%.
Right.
That's freaking cool. Versus trying to nail that one thing. And so like, it sounds super cliche, but like just start. And then from there, get reps and get feedback, like be open to receiving feedback and just be hungry to learn and accept that you don't know it all, because you don't and you never will.
Right. Do you see people kind of getting stuck with the quantity and not actually iterating to get better a lot?
Yeah, for sure. I think like, again, like for social media, just because it's what I'm the most used to, I think it's fun. Like it depends on the person, but like some people will just go ham on, let's say, quantity. And not care about quality, which I think is honestly probably the better route to start. And some people would like I used to do, I used to care about quality a lot. And so I would say, I'm going to produce content, and I would make 3 videos, realize how much effort I'm putting in, and then stop. So I think it's a combination of both, and just knowing what you want to put into it and what is the expected outcome, so you can just set your expectations properly.
Right. And I think personally, I think motivation is kind of a scam. I think discipline is the better option. But like, what do you use to stay motivated or stay disciplined?
I think the biggest thing that I've found, and most of that came from moving from the East Coast to here, is surround yourself by hungry people. And I get the chance to work with those people on a daily basis in the studio we have, and having brutally honest, peers. Like, dude, so funny story. The first time I met Dan in person, I had been on the team for 6 months, 9 months. And
that's a long time.
Well, because by that time he had actually moved to Kelowna. I was still in New Brunswick.
Weird.
Yeah. But he came back to New Brunswick, and like we needed to video shoot this one thing, and all our team was over here. So he was like, hey, Nick, can you go film with Dan? I'm like, cool. Within 5 minutes of being in the car with him, he's like, yeah, dude, you're a lot softer and fluffier than I thought you'd be. Because I was overweight. I wasn't working out as consistently. Wasn't watching what I ate. And I was like, dang. So I went for a run that night, as anyone naturally would, but like willing to call you out on your stuff. And it's just being surrounded. And like at first, it definitely can make a lot of people uncomfortable, because like, you're calling me out on, on my own stuff. Like, it's not my work. It's just like how I live my life.
Right.
And a lot of people are afraid
to
be held to a higher standard than they're used to. And yeah, I think that is by far the most powerful thing. And then just seeing other people around you succeed and do cool stuff inspires you to do the same. Like, dude, ask me 12 months ago, would you ever do a half Ironman or even a half marathon? 0% chance. Zero. Absolutely not. Hated running, hated cardio. I've always been a bigger, tall guy. Use that as an excuse to like, I'm just big, 0 chance. And then 5 people on our team did a half Ironman. I was like, that's freaking cool. I can't do that right now for sure. And then other people did a half marathon. I'm like, all right, let me just get my freaking stuff together and then like try to do something,
Right.
So yeah, just
can't be the only one here not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Because by far that's the most powerful thing, just surrounding yourself with the right people, for sure.
That's cool. I would ask too, this is like a spin on that. Like, have you ever found that surrounding yourself with a lot of driven people can be distracting? Like, can it kind of distract you from your main goal?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when I was starting out. When I first moved to Kelowna, I remember I went to like super small founders dinner. It was Dan, me, and like 3 other guys that at the time I think were doing, one of them I think was doing like 300 grand a month. The other one was doing like 150 grand a month. And I was like this 19-year-old at like you know, maybe above minimum wage, like getting a decent pay, whatever. I was like, what the heck am I doing here? And I was like, I remember walking to that dinner and I was like, as long as I don't say anything, like I'll be chill. And then this guy's talking about the thing he's doing, and then this guy's talking about the thing he's doing. I'm like, man, like what if I tried that? What if I did that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like I think that's pretty common feelings. Like you're surrounded by all these people that do all these different things. One of them is in crypto, the other one's in ads, the other one's doing drop shipping, the other one's doing this and that, real estate, whatever it is. And you're like, you see opportunity in all of them. And it's like, how do you just pick one thing?
Right.
Because you can't do it all. And just focus on that. And I think that definitely can be challenging at times.
I think for me, I sometimes will. It's almost like a, trying to find the word for it, but like a comparison thing. Like you're talking about, you wanna be able to compare with the people you respect and you look up to, but then that kind of takes away, because you're seeing their highlight reels, and that takes away from where you're actually going.
Yeah.
You kind of get in the weeds with, like you're saying, all the different things you could do.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, you know, it could be the same age, but like this guy's been doing it for 5 years. You've been in it for 6 months. Like, again, cliche, but like don't compare your chapter 20 or someone's chapter 27 to your chapter 3.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And it's just like, again, hit to the ego, but like you just got to learn to let that go. And like one of the things, the biggest shift for me, and I don't even know how I got there, but it's just like being a cheerleader for other people around you is like the complete 180 that makes like, dude, I'm going to focus on my own thing. You keep crushing your thing and you're like crushing it and you'll freaking blow up. And if I can help you in any way, like let me know. I would love to support. And like, let's just all succeed our own thing. Not like, oh, this guy's doing better than me. Let me like try to top this. Like, I don't really know how I got there. Maybe it was just being around people that were constantly doing great things. I'm like, well, I can either look at it from this angle or I can look at it from this angle. This angle is a whole lot better and it's gonna help me more.
I've never thought about it that way. That's actually super helpful.
Yeah. And then like, dude, in return, people will do the same for you. And like, so the people that I went to dinner close to 2 years ago when I first got here, now I'd say they're actually like two of the guys that I talk to like almost on a daily basis. And they're buddies and we hang out. Like to me, that felt super weird at the time.
Right.
But it's just like, everyone's human. Like,
and I think people, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think people at like a more successful stage in life, they don't really look at themselves necessarily as like more successcul. We put them on a pedestal, but it's like they're not on that pedestal, right?
Like, yeah, 100%. I've met a lot of people that are big on social media, all these things, and you meet them in person, and it's like, dude, we have no idea what we're doing. Right. And like, they have the top level podcast or whatever, and then you see behind the scenes, you're like, oh, this is how you guys run your stuff. That's crazy. But it's like, dude, everyone's human. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Like, it's humbling in a sense, because like for me, I'm like, dude, this guy can do it. I can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, totally.
And when you're working on stuff like anything, how do you decide what's the stuff worth obsessing over versus what's just noise? Like, how do you cut out the extra stuff? That's kind of vague, but
no, I totally get it. It's something I used to struggle with a lot. I would like the stuff that's super not important, but like I think I could crush. Let me put all my time into that and then like forget about the important stuff. It's something I used to struggle with a lot. Now I think it's like the biggest thing for me now is literally just dumping everything. And like, for example, if the YouTube channel that I'm responsible for isn't performing, instead of like running around and like, okay, we need to change this, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this, like, let me just dump everything that I'm thinking of, like, oh, hey, this metric is low, this metric is low. Oh, performance is down. We also stop doing this at the same time. Like, let me just dump everything. And from there, like, what is the one thing I could fix that would fix the rest of these?
Right.
And from there, like, cool, let's just solve that one problem. Like, again, just solve one problem at a time and just prioritize. And again, it could be like a lot of different things, and also accepting the fact that you're not always going to have the right answer. Sometimes you're going to have to work through challenges. Like for me, for example, when I first started working with some people on my team at the time, like this is like over a year ago, I was like, man, this person isn't great. Like, it's frustrating working with them. Like, can we just just get rid of them and hire someone else, I'm like, that seems like an easy solution. And then we didn't let go of that person, but we hired someone else. And then same thing, like, man, this is frustrating. And I'm like, okay, let me zoom out. Like, how could I impact this situation to make it better?
Right.
And then I looked at the playbooks we had and the checklists. I'm like, these are all incredibly out of date. And they're not like, they don't match what I've been telling them to do. And so I feel like I keep repeating myself, but it's because their references aren't accurate.
Right.
And so instead of fixing the hiring process or the people, I just fixed the playbook that we use to do everything. And like almost night and day within a few weeks, like I've saw our deadlines being hit, the quality of work going up, people being more driven, like everything. And it's just by dumping like what is the main problem, and then how do we tackle that one thing that is going to like impact the rest.
That's cool. Would you say that's like the biggest leadership skill you've had to learn, or is there something else?
That's one for sure. There's so many great things about leadership. Like the thing that I think Dan does the best is he's able to fit everyone's vision for their life within his vision.
Right.
And that's something he says all the time about, like, when you hire people, you want to make sure that their vision fits within yours. And so, because I think it's something you'll see a lot where, especially with young men or people that I've talked to, I'm going to work this job for a year or two and learn this one thing and then go do my own thing.
Right.
And, when...
Get the resume and leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the thing and then take off. But like when I look at, example, our creative director, when he was hired, he was asked like, hey, like, where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to do? And he said, I want to run my media team.
Right.
And then, being the leader that he is, he found a way to make that happen within his company, within his world.
Right.
And now the creative director gets to do what he wanted to do while also benefiting Dan. But it's like, it's a mutual...
It's a dual benefit kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Awesome. Yeah. And so just getting to like learn how to do that has been incredible. And I think it's like just making your team bought in that sense. Like, how do we make them win selfishly? Because at the end of the day, like when things get tough, like most people will make selfish decisions, rightfully so. You know what I mean? Like if you're never getting any ROI and you're busting your butt off for someone else all the time, like most people eventually will give up. But if you can give them a reason for them selfishly to stick around, even during the tough times, I think it's one of the best things. And then, communication is also a huge piece, like just how you communicate. Like we're all on the same team. It's not me telling someone what to do. It's more so like, hey, like this is the outcome that we're trying to focus. I think a way to get there is like to do this. Like, what do you think?
Right.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Okay, cool. Like, let's do that. So yeah, just learning how to communicate.
Well, actually, speaking about that, because I'm 21, you're 22. I don't know what your team's like, but do you ever run into the struggle of like managing or trying to direct people who have more experience and are older than you? Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, all the time. And it's something I struggle with a lot at the start. I'm like, dude, like I'm 20 or 21 and I'm managing project with this person that's 35, and I'm kind of like, hey, like stop doing that. You know what I mean? Like I felt super imposter syndrome. And I think my confidence within that just came from like, you know what, like just because they're older or they know more about this thing doesn't make me less than. I have my own experience and I have reps that I've put in on this extent. And also like, again, we're on the same team working for the same outcome. And so it's not me against them. It's just like, how do we work together?
Right.
And sometimes their strengths are freaking useful, way more than mine. And sometimes it's the opposite. But also, like they're also just human, just like I am. I don't have all the answers, neither do they. Just like, I think seeing them from a human to human level, I think helps a lot.
No, that makes sense for sure.
And just like being okay with being wrong.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I guess something I wanted to ask about too. So you're a Christian now and also working for a very successful business, right? How is your relationship with like validation, money, success? How has that all like changed over the years? And pressure, like
honestly, I would say that my need for validation now is way less than it used to be. It's something I used to seek a lot, and now I've in a way proven to myself that I can do things that I never thought I could do. I've been grateful to have a lot of great opportunities that I didn't think were kind of possible. And so just proving it to myself, I think gives me my own validation, and I kind of stopped looking at it from an outside perspective for the most part. As far as success, I think it kind of comes back to what I said earlier, which is like, to me, I just see it as a bigger opportunity to give back.
Right.
Like, I would love to donate $1 million. I can't do that right now because I don't have $1 million.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a problem.
Right. So like, if I want to get that, cool. How do I get 10 mil to donate one or whatever that is?
Right.
But like, that's kind of how I see it. And I've also realized that success can also, like, the material things can also just be about fun. And like, it just, quality of life, it doesn't need to be to show off to other people.
For sure.
At all. Like, I'm super fortunate to work with, like I said, Dan, and he has a bunch of cool cars and whatever. We show them on the internet quite a bit, but like,
it's a good hook.
He gives great hook. He gives his car to people like all the time. Like, his
really
friends, buddies come and travel. It's like, oh, like, which one do you want for the week? Like, all
That's
the time.
Pretty cool.
So, story, when this was just over a year ago, we hadn't had a 1 million view video yet on YouTube, like a long form. We were hitting like 150K, 200K, sometimes 500K, nothing at 1 million views. And Dan said, like, Nick, I want a 1 million view video, man. Like, I'm working my butt off. Like, how do we make this happen?
Right.
And a couple months later, I made a video, and within, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, it got 1 million views.
That's awesome.
And he gave me his Ferrari Pista, which is like a $500,000 car for the day.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
Because I hit that.
Yeah.
As a 19, 20-year-old. That would be pretty nerve-wracking if I was him, like, just giving that car to some kid for the day. Like, you're not with him, you're just like, here you go, have fun.
I guess that was a good date.
Yeah, it was great.
Speaking of that, just out of curiosity, I think a lot of people see like cars and the success and the traveling and all that as like something that's really important to try and achieve.
Yeah.
When you're in proximity with that kind of stuff, does it kind of lose some of its shine a little bit? Like driving a really nice car, is it something that encourages you to get closer to that? Or is it like, okay, well, this is cool, but whatever?
It definitely makes me want one for sure. Is it my North Star priority? No, absolutely not. I will say I never used to be a car guy. Like, I didn't have posters of cars on my walls growing up or anything like that. I was zero interested in cars. Literally until I got here, I was like, as long as my car can get me from point A to point B, that's all I care about. And I got to be in a lot of supercars pretty quick. And I was like, this makes point A to point B a lot more fun.
Right.
And so now I'm like, I would definitely like one of these
right.
down the road. So it definitely makes me want to get some of that for sure. But again, I wouldn't say that's my reason for doing things.
For sure.
I just think it makes life a lot more fun. But there's definitely a lot of things that I would do with that kind of money, either like before, after, or like along that journey, than just putting everything into a car just to have it.
I do have a question for that. But I was gonna say, kind of funny story, because I'm similar. I've never really been a car guy, but it's almost something as an entrepreneur, you kind of, that is part of the whole vibe. And the fastest car I've ever driven was like a Jaguar XFR. It's like 500 horsepower, I think.
Yep.
Test drove it, but I will say that definitely was like, okay, the power is a lot of fun.
It's cool, man. And like, again, I wouldn't pursue it out of greed, out of trying to flex on people, like, look at me, I have this car. But like you said, dude, it's just freaking fun.
It is fun, yeah.
And so like, if I can get myself into a position where I can comfortably afford something like that while still being able to contribute to my community, while still being able to keep the lights on and pay rent and like support my family or whatever else it is, like, why not? You know what I mean?
And that was the question I had, is what do you do? Because giving, obviously contributing, that's important. Buying cars, probably not super important right away. So what do you actually do with your money? Like what are your goals with your money? What would you invest in? What do you invest in?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the thing that I've started to do that I obviously want to do more of is just contribute to like the church I go to, given that sense. And one thing that we actually just did as a team again, but there was a like cars and toys drive 2 weekends ago, and as a team we spent like $5,000 to just cars. And again, this was like the business donating, but it's like, it's something we got to do as a team and contribute to our local community. But like, that's something I also want to do more of for sure. But yeah, like I think starting with the closest thing to me, which is probably the church I go to, and then kind of expanding out from there.
But more from like a purely business side of things. Like, what do you, because we know leaving our money in the bank is probably not the greatest idea.
Right. Like how do I invest myself?
How do you use your money?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. The thing that I'm trying to spend more focus on is less the material things and more the experiences, and like just getting myself into a room with people.
Interesting.
And so obviously being in this environment, like the cars, whether it's the nice dinners or like whatever it is great. But like, how do I get this one person that I want to learn from on the call? And if that takes $1,000, like, let me have the money to drop that for me to be able to do that. Or whether it's like friends that I love spending time with, but like they're not ones to like, oh, why don't you just come over and we'll play video games on a Wednesday night or whatever. Like they're doing stuff just like I am. Like that's not something we would do. So like, hey, let me organize a dinner, or like throw this thing. We'll all go and I'll pick up the tab.
That's cool. That's very cool.
But like build the environment for
so investing
those
in
people to
relationships
meet.
Almost.
Yeah. I'd say that's probably the best way to put it. Yeah. And also just like, dude, along the way, like trying to enjoy the journey and finding things that are going to make that more fun, and like refuel the tank in a sense. Like doing a half Ironman, for example, it's not cheap. You know, you got to buy the bike, you got to buy the suit, the thing, the registration is like whatever.
I've never heard anyone describe a half Ironman as refueling the tank, but that's
that's cool. I think it's something to pursue that isn't work related per se, that like gives me the opportunity to chase something else and improve myself in pursuit of progress and just in another aspect of life. And I think like the constant pursuit of progress is probably the most fulfilling thing we can do. And it's really tough if you just have this one thing that you do and you're not seeing progress. It's super discouraging. And so I think if you have like multiple things that you can kind of, if this isn't working, don't like, doesn't mean I'm going to stop, but like, okay, let me keep working on this, but also like, let me learn how to play the guitar. It's something that I can, you know,
Are you learning how to play the guitar?
Something I want to do. It's not something I've done. But yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it. And then just like, I also know that I'm going to be a better person on the other side of that Ironman. Like physically for strength and endurance, for sure. But like the type of person of like resilience, willing to do hard things, like that type of stuff of like pushing myself. I know I'll be a better person on the other side of that. And I know that's going to also be reflected in the work I do, how I treat people, how I treat myself. Like, yeah.
And that's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of time you do on stuff. So how do you actually manage your time with all of that? Yeah,
managing time. It's definitely been a challenge for sure. Like it's not something I am still great at, but it's something I've gotten to learn. But it's like using Google Calendar as your one source of truth. And it's like, again, zooming out. And I used to feel overwhelmed and I was super reactive of like, I would come in on Monday having no idea what my day looks like. And then I'm like, oh, true, I need to do these 5 things today. And like, oh, I also have 8 meetings today. That's tough. And I would like be super reactive all the time. And like half finished things, not circle back. Like things would take a long time to get done. They would get done late, not on time, like all these things. And I literally sat down, zoomed out and said, cool, as my role, like these are my tasks that I need to do on a weekly basis, like regardless, just to maintain what we're doing. Let me just plug those in. And I would like group stuff of like, oh, like these 3 are kind of similar. Let me just put them together on like Tuesday morning. These 3 are whatever. And then for me, putting all the meetings I have on Mondays. It's like Monday, I don't get a lot of work done, but I get all my meetings done.
That's cool.
And that sets up my week. And so I can spend the rest of the week doing the action items that I have from those meetings. And then I can just like lock in. Because the most annoying thing was like having one meeting and then you have 30 minutes and then you have another meeting and then you have 45 minutes and then another meeting. And then you have one and then you don't have the rest of the day. And then the next day you have one meeting mid-morning. And it's just like, as a creative, someone that like needs to just lock in with headphones for 4 hours, that one 30-minute meeting would cost me like an hour and a half. Because then I need to mentally prep for the meeting, then I need to do the meeting and then refocus. It's like, It's a whole thing. So like, let's just all move those to one day, group them, and then I have a block on Monday morning for meeting prep. So like, let me look at the meetings from last week. What do I need to follow up on? Make sure it's done, blah, blah, blah. Prep, what do I want to go through with my team for this week? And then do that, set my weekly rhythms for the rest of the week. And then from there, it's like looking at the bigger picture of, cool, now that I have the stuff to maintain, I have these white spots that I can fill. What would be the highest leverage use of my time I could spend it on, right?
Right.
So like, oh, I'm going to focus on how do we improve our thumbnail process? Cool, let me spend a block of time on that. And then I would have like blank spots where I would leave open for as things come up, I have the ability to do them and just kind of move things around if need be, versus like filling out my day from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. And then one thing pops up that's urgent that I need to do, and then it just messes me up for the whole thing.
Right.
That's one thing. And then like on the super like nerdy technical side, everything I do in those time blocks in my Google Calendar is linked up in the description. And cool. So like coming here today,
yeah, I remember you mentioned it.
I had the Google Maps location in the calendar block.
That's cool.
So that's instead really cool. Of like me like, and then just I had a block for drive to Tristan's place.
Right. So it's a one-stop shop for everything. Yeah.
Right. So like I was like, oh, it's 6. Cool. I need to leave. Where am I going? Cool. Let me just click this. Versus like, oh, where did he text me the address again? Was it text? Was it Instagram? Okay, let me go and find it and scroll up. I was just like, it's already in there. Because as soon as you sent it to me, I'm like, cool, let me add it to my calendar. Boom. Then I don't need to think about it. Yeah. And it is like organization, but dude, the biggest thing is the mental bandwidth that it takes away.
Right.
Like I don't need to think about what I'm doing tomorrow because it's already in my calendar.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bed tonight. I'm like, oh, I need to do this one thing, and I need to send this Slack and this email, and I need to call this person about this. Oh, and I need to do this. And then like I can't fall asleep. Like I'm zero worried because it's already in my calendar.
You're going to wake up and see the list. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to start implementing that for sure.
Dude, it is by far the biggest thing. And like I said, I have my main rhythm set like for the next, 6 months. And then usually on Sundays, I'll take time and like, okay, what do I specifically need to do this week that's like kind of unique? Right. And I'll plug those in. And that also includes like most people think is just, you do that just for meetings, like just plug in your meetings. But dude, I plug in work blocks, specific tasks, the small stuff, the 15-minute tasks that I need to do on a daily basis. Reminder, hey, on Monday mornings, I need to fill out the scorecard. The link for the scorecard is in the thing. So I don't forget it or lose it, whatever. It's there. And then when do I work out? When do I, like church is in my calendar on Sunday mornings.
That's cool.
And walk to church, because I'm downtown now, is also in there.
What church do you go to?
I go to Praxis.
Okay.
Yeah, so I go there Sunday morning and I'll go to the house on Sunday nights.
Right. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
But like management. Everything is in there. And like it's funny because like with the environment we're in now, like my buddies that I don't even, or some of them I work with, some of them do their own thing, but it's like, hey, like we used to go to sushi all the time on Friday nights. It was kind of our ritual. And like one of us would send calendar invites. Like Google, like it's 3 buddies that just hang out. Like it's, if you and I are going for sushi, it will be in my calendar and I will send you an invite.
That's a great idea, man.
Because it's like, it's there. And then it's also cool because like in a sense, it's a way to document what you've done, and you can come back in, let's say 12 months from now, look at like, oh dude, look at the stuff I was doing a year ago on a daily basis.
Right.
And it's a way to like document in a sense. And then
it's a tracker.
Right. Yeah. And nowadays, like you can chat to it, you can connect AI and ask it like, hey, like how am I using my time? How could I be more efficient? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So
that's pretty cool. I am going to have to get on that.
But Google Calendar, by far the best thing for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I have one of the questions I was going to ask you too is, we might have already answered a little bit, but what is like, if you had to start over from zero tomorrow, building a channel, what's the first thing you do? Or what would you change from what you did do?
I think one is figure out, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you just making content because you want to make content and you don't care about the results at all, like the metrics on YouTube analytics? Are you making content to sell something? Are you making content to document a journey? Like what is the outcome? What is the problem we're trying to solve in a sense? What are we making this for? And then work backwards from there. And so if, example, you're selling something, the first thing you should find out, if you don't have it already, is who are you selling to?
Right.
And what
Your
does that
avatar.
person look like? Right.
Yeah.
Like, what do they smell like? You know what I mean? Like, get specific.
All right, Joe Biden.
Yeah. And like, that's something we do, like age, sex, what level they're at, what's their income, how big is their team, do they have kids, what are their beliefs, where do they live, like all these things. And then from there, it's way easier to work backwards from that to what you would do on the day-to-day to figure out what that looks like. And so figuring out what you're doing it for, I think, is one. And then from there, having an idea of where you're going. And then from there, just start doing reps. Like a lot of people focus on like myself, I need to do the best thing. Like, dude, just get content out and learn from those. Right. Whether it's in monthly increments, like look at your content for the last 30 days. Oh, interesting. Out of the 30 videos I put out, these 3 had 20% more views than the rest. Interesting. These 3 videos are about this topics versus these ones are all about XYZ, different. Cool. Maybe I do more of this because it performs better. Right. And from there, oh, interesting. When I start my video with a question, it actually performs better than when I just start with a statement. Oh, that's cool. And just like picking up on these patterns that you just won't get without the reps.
Do you think having that experience of like working as a creative director, if and when you do start like your own content, do you think that's just gonna like kind of guarantee pretty quick success there?
No, definitely not.
Why is that?
I think it depends what you mean by guarantee. So if you say, if I started today and in 10 years, could I have, let's say, a YouTube channel with 1 million subs? I would say 100% for sure. Right. If you're saying, if I start something now, is it going to blow up in the next 6 months or 12 months? I would say 0%. Like,
interesting.
0% guarantee.
Right. So it's more about time frame versus whether it'll work or not.
But yeah, but like social media is a challenging thing, and it's changing, and it's going to be different for everyone depending on who you are, who you're making it for, like your audience. Like there's so many variables. But I think with an long time horizon, I think it'd be unreasonable for me to not think I could achieve the same thing. Cool. With a long enough time horizon.
Right. And like from scaling Dan Martel's YouTube channel to like 2.2 million followers, what would be like 2 tips or hacks you give, like 1 sentence hacks?
Speak from who you are. And to me, that includes like be authentic, like tell your stories, tell why people should care. Just like be you for sure. Mm-hmm. And then 2 is have patience, because it took us 10 years to get to 100,000 subs. Right. And we went from 100K to 2 million in 24 months. Yeah. And so it's a big flat line, and then it does this, but this doesn't happen without that. Right.
You need those reps.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I think patience for sure. And then, yeah, just like, and again, it's used pretty vaguely nowadays, but like be authentic, be yourself. I also think like if you just do that, I don't think that guarantees success at all. I think there's a version of you in a sense that you'll need to adapt to what the platform expects. Right.
You can't be fully yourself necessarily.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I think you just need to learn how to communicate that. Right.
Okay. You need to communicate you need to communicate
how
your
platform,
your genuine self.
Right.
In a way that works.
In a way that people will receive it, I think, the best way.
Interesting. So communication, I guess, is a huge part of it.
Yeah. And like, dude, that's like, we do educational stuff type content, right? Mm-hmm. So very like business heavy mindset, all this stuff.
That's a tough niche.
You say that, I think I would know that niche pretty well. However, if you tell me like, hey, go start here's my morning routine and get ready with me series, like dude, 0% chance I could make that succeed like I can on educational from what I know.
But you have
so
the reps.
different. Yeah, I have reps, but like that's a completely different outcome, audience. Like
it's a whole different job almost.
100%. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's super interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
What do you spend, like, your favorite thing to do outside of work? What's your favorite thing to do?
That's a tough question. I do love training. I think, like I said, like the pursuit of progress in that sense, whether it's strength, squat PRs, or just like hitting a PR on a run. That's been super fun lately. I do also love watching movies. Cool. That's something I like to do.
You gotta give me a suggestion.
Oh man, I mean, I'll give you my favorite if you haven't seen it already. Okay. Interstellar by Chris Nolan. I would highly recommend it, and I would say if you can, watch it with a great sound system.
Okay.
Because again, that's the stuff I nerd out about as like a video, like in the video space. But like the sound design and the music in there is fantastic. Cool. The storytelling is great.
I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, if I could give you one, that's what I would give you for sure.
That's cool. And you talked about relationships a bit. Something I'm trying to figure out myself. Like with relationships, how do you balance time with relationships? How do you actually figure out like a good person to date? Like what's your
man? That's a tough question. I don't think I'm in the best position to answer that, honestly. I haven't really pursued a relationship in the last, call it 2 years.
Okay.
It's not something that I've been intentional or have been prioritizing. I think for a few different reasons. Definitely some limiting beliefs there for sure. Of like, I'm not where I want to be yet. And, all these things. As I think a lot of guys
absolutely
feel like. And then also just like, I also understand that like with the season of life that I'm in a like learn and acquire skills phase a lot. And I don't know, like I don't think right now I would be in a spot to balance that super well with the relationship type that I know I would want to have.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, I really probably have the worst answer to give there.
No, that's a good answer. I would say, for myself, I haven't dated anyone in a year. Yeah, which has been the best year of my life, honestly. Yeah, and I think being single is kind of underrated a lot of the time. But
there's definitely pros and cons to both for sure. 100%. And like, same thing. Like, I haven't done much there. I also do think that I can be pretty picky. Call it high standards, call it whatever. Definitely there. So like I easily filter a lot of people out pretty quickly, which seems good sometimes. Sometimes like, man, well, maybe,
Well, I think it is good because it's like the second biggest
for sure
decision of your life.
100%.
Marry, right?
100%. And that's, I joke about it all the time, definitely too much. But like, I'm looking for a wife, not just like a girl to date.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm not looking to.
Well, why would you spend the time, the money, and all the rest of the stuff if you don't actually have a longer term goal, right?
Yeah, that's where my head's at. So like, I'm not. And again, I think there's maybe a conversation there for like, get the reps in again, like we've talked about in a sense, like anyways.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Like I don't think of it that way, but like in a sense, like the more comfortable you get, the more like, you get to taste, you get to, in a sense, just learn to know what you want, what you don't want. Versus if you have little to no experience, it's definitely harder to like tell from first contact in a sense, like, hey, like, oh, this, I don't know, this could work, this could not work. Yeah.
Well, we do that with every other decision in our lives.
Right.
Buying a house, buying a car, literally our job.
For sure.
We do so much research on it. We do practice, if you want to call it that, right? Yeah. And why wouldn't we do it with the person you want to live with for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's it's something that, I mean, selfishly, like it's something that I definitely wasn't doing the actions of pursuing it, but like in my mind, it's something that I was pursuing, and I wanted like pretty heavily in the last 12 months. And it's something that over the last probably 2 to 3 months, I've learned to let go a lot. And like, again, God has a plan, and when that happens, I'll be here for it. In the meantime, let me focus on myself and improving myself and trying to be the best potential partner that I could be for someone that will come into my life at the right time.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, because like, how to find your perfect spouse. Make a list of everything you would want that person to be, and then work as hard as you can to become that person.
That's great advice. Yeah.
So I don't know if I would take my advice in relationships, but that's just something I heard that I resonate with, because it's like, you can't expect someone to do all these things, be in shape, communicate well, put others first, like all these things, if you don't first do that yourself.
It ties back to what you're saying about leadership. You got to do all of the things so you can expect someone else.
And I think part of that, like, full circle kind of back to the start, is like, you got to know what you want and what your values are. And
absolutely,
if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And like, you got to learn what that is, and then from there it's like a filter of like, hey, cool, I know I don't want that, so like, let me not sweat,
not even consider it.
Right.
Something that was really interesting, a friend of mine was talking about, because I made a comment about, where are the options nowadays for people, and they said, you don't actually want options. Like, options aren't always a good thing, because the type of person you want, hopefully, and God has someone for you. And if there's all these options, then you might not see that person, but God will bring that person into your life, and then you never need options again. So like, what's the point of having all the options, right? That was just kind of encouraging.
Totally. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
But yeah, well, it's been a really fun conversation.
It's been a blast.
It's been a long one, which is great.
Yeah, 100%.
But thanks. That was so much good information. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Could help, provide something. Hopefully not just me yapping for however long it is.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah, cool.
And you have Instagram?
Nick Pineau, nic.pineau, not Pinot like the wine, but close enough. But find me there, and
Cool. Well, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Heck yeah. That was fun.
That was fun. We gotta get a thumbnail too.
Oh, heck yeah. What do you need?
I have no idea.